Hey guys, it's Hey553. Welcome back to another Beyblade X unboxing and review. Today we're going to be checking out the latest crossover project release from Takara, that being Storm Spriggan. Now going over the packaging quickly, as you can see the packaging is trying to recreate the original starter packaging, which is really cool. So we've got nice images of Spriggan and Shu on the front, but then got more traditional Beyblade X stuff on the sides. And on the back, goes over everything we get in the starter. So of course we have the Storm Spriggan blade, Ratchet is 270, and then we have the merge bit. So let's get into this starter pack. So here is Storm Spriggan out of the packaging, the next of our crossover project releases from Takara. Now this Bey was of course used by Shu Kurenai, Volt's best friend in the Beyblade Burst anime. So really cool to get this in the X format. Now the parts aren't the best, but it is obviously trying to recreate the look of the original combo that Storm Spriggan had. And I think they definitely pulled it off for the most part. But let's now take a deep dive into all the parts that Storm Spriggan comes with. So first off, we have the Storm Spriggan blade itself. Now this is the only part in this release that is brand new, but it is a crossover project blade, so do keep in mind that this is made up more plastic than metal, so it is going to be a lot lighter. So it's not really going to compete that well against the main format with Beyblade X. But looks really good. I love how this blade looks. Now there are stickers on this, but I will say, thankfully, unlike Excalibur, these stickers are a lot easier to put on. But even still, do keep in mind it's not going to perform very well. But looks wise, looks fantastic, and really cool to finally have this Bey in Beyblade X. It's really cool. Next up we have the 270 Ratchet. So not a new Ratchet and not a particularly good Ratchet. These Ratchets are pretty known for being burst prone, but I do like the old black look. Looks pretty cool, and it is trying to recreate the look of the original driver. But again, not the best Ratchet. If you do want to use Storm Spriggan against other Beys, you're better off using a different Ratchet. But again, still like the colors that this Ratchet is in now. Finally for the bit, we have Merge. Honestly, really happy to see this bit here. It's the second reprint of this bit, and it's done in colors to match how the original Unite driver looked. Now, probably the main problem with this bit being used though is that it does make the Bey look really elongated, so not exactly the best looking, but I do appreciate that they went with one of the rubber bits for this. But even still, really happy to have this bit here. Not only just because it looks great in these colors, but it does match up to how the original Unite driver looked. With this combination of parts, it makes Storm Spriggan a balanced type, which is very fitting for its original typing. But now, let's head over to the scales and see how much all these parts weigh up. Alright, let's do some weights for Spriggan's, or Storm Spriggan. So, the merge bit, this weighs 3.38. 270, this weighs 6.36, and then Storm Spriggan itself, this one weighs 30.97, so that is a bit lighter compared to Valkyrie and Excalibur. So yeah, it is the lightest of the Burst remix so far, but I mean, it's over 30 grams, so I can't really complain about that too much. Let's put the Bey together. 270 and merge. There's the full combo. Yeah, the one thing that it does throw off the look of the Bey a bit is just how big merge is. It does make it look a bit weird. But altogether, Storm Spriggan weighs 40.65, so not a bad weight for it. But let's head over to the stadium and to set up in some test spins. Alright, now we're going to do some test spins with Storm Spriggan. I'm not going to do any test battles today with this, as I kind of don't want to ruin up the paint on the metal parts. Also, I am using an existing merge bit that I've already worn out, because I don't want to use the rubber on this new one just yet. But let's see how this goes. Now, being on merge, its performance is going to vary if you are using more of the rubber. So like if you're launching it on an angle. Yeah, I mean, I can't really complain too much about its performance, really. I mean, I am happy to see that we got at least another merge bit. I mean, not the most balanced, I will say that. But it's still really cool to get a Storm Spriggan in this new generation. This is pretty cool. But it just has me curious, what other burst remakes should we be getting next? I mean, please Luinor, or Longness if you want to use that name. Really want that bay. But even still, really cool addition to the crossover project. So that is it for my look at Storm Spriggan. Really happy with this release overall. Very awesome to see another crossover project release for Burst, and honestly pretty happy with how it turned out. Now, don't expect this beta to be very competitively viable. Most of the crossover project releases don't tend to do well competitively unless you're using it in certain tier groups. But honestly, I'm pretty happy overall. Now, for the other parts, I mean, 270 is not the best, but I am pretty happy to see Merge get a reissue here in all black with the white rubber. I think that looks really good. Granted, Merge does make it look a bit odd, with it being very elongating just because of how large Unite is. But honestly, I cannot complain too much about this release, and honestly, I can definitely recommend it if you are a massive fan of Spriggan, or just a massive fan of Beyblade Burst in general. This is definitely a great addition to the crossover project releases for Burst. So my final thoughts on Storm Spriggan are pretty good. While it's probably not my favorite out of the crossover project releases, it's definitely a very solid release in the crossover project. 270 is not the best Ratchet. I would have liked to have seen maybe a different Ratchet, but the reissue of Merge is very nice. But honestly, definitely highly recommend this if you're a massive fan of Spriggan or Burst, or you just really like the crossover project base in general, as they definitely have a certain appeal that, because I know some people do not like the way that a lot of the X-base looks, so this definitely could appeal to you if you're not a big fan of how a lot of the X-base look. But other than that, I still highly recommend picking this up if you are a big fan. But anyways, that's going to do it for this review. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for more Beyblade X videos in the future, and until then, I'll see you all in the next video.